The camera opens on a close-up of a person forcing a huge, cheerful grin while chaos, alarms, smoke, arguments erupts into the blurred background. Their smile never wavers, no matter what happens behind them. Have you ever wondered why hanging out with relentlessly cheerful people sometimes feels off? Have you ever felt downright suffocated by someone's endless positivity? What if I told you that being around those happy people might actually be more toxic than you realized? Today, on the Growth Mindset Project, we're exploring a question that might flip your world upside down. Are happy people actually toxic? Find out why as we dig deep into how is positive people influence on your life and your mental well-being. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to join the Growth Mindset Project. We're all about smashing the stereotypes that hold us back, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. You know the type. There's always a coworker or a family member, the one practically glowing with optimism, surfing every setback with a 1,000-watt grin and telling everyone else to look on the bright side. Most of us have, at some point, paused to ask ourselves, why does that relentless positivity make me uncomfortable? Deep down, do you ever feel like something is wrong with you because that shiny, upbeat vibe makes your skin crawl? Well, you're not alone. The truth is, our society celebrates positivity as a virtue. We are encouraged to stay positive, look for the silver lining, and suppress negativity at all costs. On social media, perpetual cheerfulness is practically an unspoken rule. Workplaces push positivity as culture, discouraging any complaints or criticism. But let's break this down, because how is positive people influence you, really? And is it always a good thing? Let's reframe the conversation. Positivity, at least the kind we see most often, isn't really about feeling good at all. It's about refusing to feel bad. There's a huge difference between the two. When someone tells you to just cheer up or focus on the good, what they're often saying is, don't acknowledge what's wrong, don't make waves. It's less about supporting you and more about shoving reality out of sight. And when things are broken, hurtful, or unfair, ignoring reality doesn't make it disappear. Here's the deal. Emotions are information. Anger lets us know when we're facing injustice. Sadness flags our losses. Frustration points to our unmet needs. Whenever we run into positive people who constantly dodge these emotions and expect us to do the same, something important is happening, not just individually, but systemically. Because if you can train yourself or a whole group of people to always have only one response to every situation, a plastered-on smile and a cheerful denial, what you've actually created is a disabling, numbing mechanism. In effect, you've told yourself and everyone around you to ignore danger signs. What does that do to your perception of what's real? When you can't feel or express your anger, you may not even notice when you're being exploited. If you stifle your frustration or sadness so deeply, you lose sight of what needs to change. How is positive people influence in this context? Suddenly, it isn't about lifting anyone up. It's about maintaining the status quo by numbing critical thinking and dulling the urge to take action. Culture isn't innocent in this. Think about corporate environments. If everyone is supposed to only share constructive, upbeat feedback, who ends up speaking up when something is really wrong? When people are discouraged from bringing negativity to the group, guess what? Legitimate complaints disappear. Not because the problems are solved, but because people are too afraid to be the downer. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. You raise a genuine complaint, and suddenly you're labeled as negative, or worse, toxic. They flip it on you. It's not the system, it's your attitude. It's no longer about addressing the issue, but about correcting you for noticing there's an issue at all. At that point, you're managing your own oppression by trying desperately to change how you feel, rather than changing what's happening. At this 3-minute mark, if this is hitting close to home, smash that like button and let us know in the comments. Have you ever been pressured to just stay positive? How did it make you feel? Does positivity always help, or has it ever hurt you in a difficult situation? Let's go even further. What happens when you address something real, a loss, setback, injustice, with a relentlessly upbeat person? They'll say, everything happens for a reason, Wicker. Just focus on the good. Now, this isn't a conversation, it's a dodge. Reality is sidestepped. The message isn't, let's get through this together. It's, stop talking about it and pretend it isn't there. It's critical to understand. Not all positive people have bad intentions. Some genuinely believe that cheerfulness wards off trouble. For them, any sign of anger or sadness threatens the delicate denial that keeps their world afloat. If they acknowledge your real, painful situation, maybe they'd have to confront their own, and that's territory they're not ready to visit. With them, the pressure to be positive is a kind of unconscious defense against facing hard truths. But there's a darker side, too. There are positive people who wield optimism as a weapon. People who consciously use positivity to shut down criticism, maintain control, or make themselves look morally superior. In this version, rejecting your complaints becomes a way to win power without ever actually solving anything. You get painted as the problem, while they claim the high ground, looking reasonable and kind. This is where it gets insidious. When you try to call it out, you're immediately branded as the toxic one. Suddenly it's, you just can't handle my happiness. The real manipulation gets buried under the accusation, and now you're defending yourself from a charge of negativity rather than dealing with the original problem. Where does true influence come in then? How is positive people influence at its best? It's not through denying the full scope of human emotion. In fact, authentic influence means being able to read the room, to tap into a wide spectrum of real, appropriate emotional responses. The most inspiring people aren't those who keep smiling no matter what. They're the ones who bring calm in peace, courage in crisis, and genuine joy when it's called for. What you're drawn to and what feels safe isn't endless sunshine. It's authenticity. It's the person who says, yes, this hurts, yes, this is a problem, and we'll get through it together. That person isn't invested in maintaining a mask. They're invested in seeing things clearly, dealing with consequence, and growing from reality. Yet, in a culture drowning in forced optimism, it can feel like we're all supposed to amputate half our emotions. The tell? If someone never gets angry, never seems sad, never admits to frustration, if their positivity feels like armor, they've probably learned to suppress everything that doesn't look happy. Keeping up that act takes energy. Energy you can almost feel vibrating in the air when you're with them. That's why being around forced positivity feels so tense and draining. A quick reminder at this 6-minute mark. If this resonates, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your own experiences down below. Your voice matters, especially in a world that sometimes tries to shout it down with forced smiles. So what are you really picking up when you feel uneasy around endlessly happy people? It's not a flaw in you, In fact, it's your sense of reality doing its job. You recognize the mismatch between what they're projecting and what's really happening. It tells you, sometimes as an uneasy knot in your stomach, that something isn't right. You're not too sensitive or too negative. You're accurate. The true measure of positive influence isn't how strongly someone can perform joy. It's about how much space they grant for truth, yours and theirs. When you bring an authentic concern to someone who values genuine connection, they don't try to make the problem go away with a platitude. They listen, they engage, they feel with you, even when it's uncomfortable. Contrast that with the person who, instead of helping to fix the problem, tries to change your perception until you stop talking about it. That's not support. That's emotional policing. When positivity is used to shame you for reacting honestly, it teaches everyone around to silence not just their complaints, but their clarity and authenticity. What does that look like day to day? It looks like people swallowing their anger when faced with unfairness, hiding grief, faking contentment because disagreement would cost too much. Social alienation, lost approval, even being targeted as the problem. That's not healthy culture. It's emotional self-censorship enforced by those who claim the title of positive. If you've ever wondered why you come away from relentlessly cheerful interactions feeling drained or alienated, trust that sense. It's a defense against illusion and a call to appreciate your own honest experience. If you found today's deep dive into how positive people influence their surroundings fascinating, don't stop here. Watch the next video on our channel for more surprising truths about self-growth and emotional intelligence. Hit the bell so you never miss a reality check from the Growth Mindset Project.